Hello guys and welcome to my new video. And next year we're gonna have an election for the US Senate, as you know it, the 2026 midterm election. And this is the map of the Senate, the current map of the Senate: 34 Democrats and 31 Republicans. Then we're gonna go to election. Basically, the 35 are missing here. They're gonna go to election next year. So basically, I'm just gonna fill in the likely seats. That will be Oregon, that will be Minnesota, that will be New Hampshire, Massachusetts, Rhode Island, New Jersey, Delaware, also Illinois, Colorado, New Mexico, and also it's just this. So basically, those are the seats that are safe for the Democrats, including Virginia as well. 45 Democrats now to 31 Republicans. The safe seats for the Republicans will be, of course, this would is 4, even Texas, I think. But I'll leave Texas to the end because I want to talk about Texas precisely. And Kentucky, Tennessee, West Virginia, also South Carolina, Alabama, Mississippi, Louisiana, Arkansas, and also Florida. And I'm going to leave it like this. And also Alaska. So now I have 45 Democrats to 48 Republicans. And you can go here to this, and you see that we have in Michigan a Democrat is retiring. Also in New Hampshire, also in Illinois, also in Minnesota. Illinois is safe Democrat, doesn't matter. Minnesota, Trump lost by 3 points. That is true, but I think it will end up blue, as you can see here. Michigan, that's an interesting race, but I think it will ultimately fall into Democratic hands by a lean margin. That'll be the 46th the seat for the Democrats, and New Hampshire as well. I think it's the same thing as I select a safe district there, a state for the Democrats. And now we have Kentucky and Alabama. Those are two reliable red states, and also we have in North Carolina, as you can see here, that is a seat of Thom Tillis, but Thom Tillis now is not running because of the controversy inside the One Big Beautiful Bill. He decided not to run because of his divergences with President Trump. And Roy Cooper, the former Democratic governor of North Carolina, had won in 2016, even though Trump won by 3 points to stay there. And also in 2020, he won the re-election by a bigger margin, I think a 4 or 5 points margin there. And even though Trump won the state as well, he's a very strong candidate. I think the Democrats are going to win North Carolina. That will be the first time in many years in terms of the Senate. The last senator from North Carolina, from the Democratic, of course, was Kay Hagan, I think, in 2008, elected with Barack Obama in that year. So that is a win for the Democrats. And we have 47 Democrats to 48 Republicans. That will move up to Maine. Maine is a very popular, I would say popular, it's a popular senator. Susan Collins, a very moderate senator from the Republican Party, as you know. She's moderate, that's why she's able to win in Maine by a very hand margin, as you can see here, 8 points. That is a very great margin. But I think this time, with all the controversy, with all this Trump administration, all the controversy inside the One Big Beautiful Bill, not only that, but also tariffs, the economy, and also the prices going up, even though that's not Trump's fault 100%, but still, people blame the administration for that, and that is just how the average Joe will see it. So I think the Democrats will be able to get Maine back by a very small margin, but they will be able to get Maine back. That will put 48 Democrats to 48 Republicans. Okay, the Republicans need 50 to get the majority. The Democrats need 51. Because in case of a 50-50 tie, the vice president, which is the president of the Senate, will break the tie in favor of the Republican, because the president of the Senate is J.D. Vance, the vice president of the United States, as you know. And now in Georgia, I think the Democrats will be able to stay with Georgia. Georgia is John Ossoff, as you can see here. He won in 2021 in the runoff, of course, in 2020, but in 2021 as well, against David Perdue in a very difficult environment. That is true, but still, for the Republicans, because of all the January 6th, after January 5th, of course, it was the election after all of this, then it was a very hard moment for the Republican Party, especially for Trump as well, and David Perdue was supported by Trump. And as you can see here, John Ossoff will probably win again by a bigger margin. He's only 38 years old, I think, or something. Now he's 40, but I think he was 38 when he was elected, or 36, or something like that. He was the youngest senator, and he is the youngest senator as of right now in the U.S. Senate. That is just interesting. and it's just interesting, I would say. In Iowa, we might have a very competitive race because it's John Ernst or something. Johnny Ernst, exactly. And she's an incumbent senator from Iowa, and she won Iowa by 6 points, as you can see here. But what's most interesting is that Trump won Iowa in that year by eight to 9 points, I think. So she underperformed Trump, but she can underperform Trump because Iowa is a relatively safe state. So I think Iowa will fall into Republican hands at least one more time in Iowa. Now we only have Ohio and Texas. And the Democrats, in order to get a Senate back, they need to win both Ohio and Texas. How likely is that? Very unlikely, I must admit. In Ohio, we're gonna have a Republican incumbent as well, John Husted. I'm sorry, not J.D. Vance. We will also have a special election in Ohio. That doesn't matter. Because to replace, of course, J.D. Vance. J.D. Vance now is the vice president, so he needs to be replaced. But I don't care about the special election, at least right now. I just care about an incumbent in Ohio. I think it will stay red by a lean margin. And Texas, with John Corbin as well being the incumbent, I think it will also stay red. And this is a 51-49. That is my prediction, at least as of right now, going into the U.S. Senate. I think the Republicans, in a very great year, they can also get Georgia. I'm sorry. You're also going to get Michigan, and you can also get Maine. Not North Carolina, because I think Roy Cooper is going to win by a very big margin. I mean, more than 5 points for a Battleground is a big margin. But I think you can end up 54-46. I'm not even including New Jersey as a competitive state, even though it could end up competitive. Trump only lost there by 4.5 or 5 points. But in order for the Democrats to win, they need to win Ohio and Texas and Michigan and Georgia and Maine, and that is a 51-49 majority for the Democrats. It's not an easy situation. They're probably not going to get this. But what's most interesting about the Senate is very tough for the Democrats to win. The House is not as tough as the Senate, but if the Republicans are going to come up with a lot of redistricting ideas, it's probably going to be a much harder task. But I think if Trump has a very negative approval rating, this might go to the Democratic side. But right now, Trump is only 5.5 points in terms of his approval rating. He is better than Obama in the second term and better than George W. Bush also in the second term. So I don't think we have a lot of disapproval, at least so far in President Trump administration, even though you have a lot of things to protest, you have a lot of things to say bad about it. So far, the polls are not showing that in dramatic ways. You saw that in April after all the sell-off in the markets, also after the Liberation Day in April 4th, I think, April 2nd, I'm sorry, with all the reciprocal tariffs announced there. And then Trump became much better in terms of the approval rating, and now it's already at 51.4, 45.9. Even though it's not a bad not a bad poll, I must admit. The Democratic Party has a very low approval rating. That's why they might be struggling to get a huge majority as we would forecast. Also, the Republican Party is 12 points down, but look at the Democratic Party is 24, and the wrong track direction is 12 points down. It's not that bad because when you saw this exit poll coming into the 2024 presidential race, it was 75% wrong track, 25% wrong track. Of course, the election was not 75.5 because there were some people that still voted for Harris, but thought it still sucks when I go to the supermarket and I need to buy things and the prices are going up a lot. I'm not saying this is to blaming Biden, but all the stimulus inside the 2020 pandemic was partially because of that we got a lot of inflation. I'm not saying it's 100% Biden. I'm just saying some part it was Biden, but some part is going to be Trump right now because we're going to see prices going up again. Prices will be up in 20, in 30 years because prices go up. That's just the truth part about this. People try to imagine a world where prices don't go up. Just do an example. Don't print money. But if the United States stop printing money, they can't pay the debt back. They can't pay the interest on the debt, and that will generate a very bad situation. You don't want to even think about that. You need to cut the deficit. President Trump is saying the tariffs are going to make it. I don't think so, but let's just see. The One Big Beautiful Bill is going to just sucks for the deficit, basically. And we're going to have a lot of headwinds coming into the 2026 cycle. We're going to have, in about 2 months from now, 3 months from now, we're going to have the 2025 gubernatorial election. It'll be the first test to the Trump administration in Virginia and in New Jersey. in Virginia, we have an incumbent Republican that can't run for re-election because that's the law in Virginia, and we're gonna have a Democratic pickup there, probably. That's my expectation. And in New Jersey, going to have a Democratic hold. But if the Republicans can make Jack Ciattarelli one in New Jersey in a very tough climate because President Trump is the incumbent, or in the incumbent president, the Republicans are in the White House. If they can win New Jersey and if they can keep Virginia, that'll be amazing. But I think it's more likely that the Republicans will win New Jersey rather than winning back Virginia. That is my expectation. I don't think this is not 100%, but I think this is my expectation, and we'll see in November if I'm right or not. So thank you for watching. See you in the next video. Don't forget to subscribe and leave your like, and see you in the next. Thank you.